1 week closer to WrestleMania, Dan. Very good Raw, a very good AEW pay per view, followed by a very subpar Dynamite, which I think is their problem. But before we jump into that, real quick, have you seen our boy, the friend of the pod, what Jesse Ventura's been saying lately?
Well, a little bit. You shared some of it with me re- recently.
About the attempt on Trump,
Yeah, well, that, yeah.
and then later in that conversation, I guess, or part of the conversation that hasn't been circling, somehow they got into. I think Pierce Morgan brought in the topic of Trump being a WWE Hall of Famer, which didn't really go over well with Jesse. There's some subjects I guess Pierce's team or Pierce's team told him to, you know, to not stay away from. Obviously, his team failed him. Um, Knowing what you know about how Jesse responds to this, what do you think Jesse's comments were about Trump being a Hall of Famer, Dan? I don't know if you saw these, but would you say that would probably be a great question to ask for an interview?
I mean, you never know what you're going to get with that guy. So I think you got to be careful no matter
Right.
what you ask him.
You got to be very protective over your show, right? Like very
Yeah.
protective. Um, Trump being a Hall of Famer is a tragedy. Is a tragedy. This guy never been in a ring. I got a good friend, Ken Patera, an Olympian first man in the overhead press 500 pounds, 25 years ago, 25 years in the wrestling business. Kenny Patera is not in the Hall of Fame. Donald Trump does not belong in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. He never earned it. Ventura stated that he got into the Hall of Fame because he wrestled 60 consecutive nights in a row. That's how you get into the Hall of Fame. And then he goes, when I was referring to put a wrestler in the White House, I was talking about me, not him. I'm the former governor of Minnesota. I'm the only real former wrestler. I don't include him. He's only in the Hall of Fame because he stopped an investigation against Vince McMahon of sexual stuff. I one, this was an absolute failure by Piers Morgan's team. I know you I know Jesse gets brought in to talk about his background, the armed forces and all that stuff. This type of question is a good way to sabotage your whole interview. Wouldn't you say so, Dan? Like it just this is
Yeah.
not that's not the person you bring up the president to, and especially when it's against a business that Jesse is still very protective over. Two, I wanted to get your thoughts and opinions on this. Does this have any of these comments have any effect on the future Saturday night main events? Because let's
Well, has he even been on the last couple?
I don't think
I
he was
don't
on the last
remember.
one. I know he wasn't on the last one. I can't remember past that. My only concern as I started thinking about that as being a possible issue from all this, because don't forget, what did the Rock's daughter do as soon as the last day of her contract was up? She went on Twitter, said something about the administration, and then WWE took that handle away. Not that they could take anything away from Jesse, but maybe think twice about, if you're really not trying to go with an old school feel for the Saturday night main events anymore, do you think WWE views Jesse as, you know, being an asset or more of a liability now?
I mean, I think he could be a liability for sure. I don't know how much they care, but like he's always a liability. Like this doesn't really change the fact that he's always a liability. And he was a little awkward the first couple of shows, and then he was like on a break, and I don't know, maybe they're just gonna phase him out anyway.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I, I guess the thing that got me concerned about it is like I would just hate to see him get phased out because of Pierce's team not doing their due diligence that well when it comes to like what questions should we ask about Jesse, what questions shouldn't we ask. And I get they probably ask this, right? Because they're going to get the type of response that gets viewers to their show. But at the same time, like, what is Pierce doing bringing up Donald Trump in the wrestling, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're like, it's almost kind of you're serving this up to make your interviewee look bad. And what good does that do? Right? Like what like I get it. Like it gets you views, it gets whatever, but Pierce is still gonna get his views from his you know, his population of people that like watching that show. I just think it was a bad
Yeah,
look to put on Jesse. I mean, we've all known Jesse gets pretty far out there and things can get kind of crazy with Jesse and so on, but you know, I don't know. It's just tough because big fan of Jesse, like as a wrestler, um, and you just hope something like this just doesn't screw up any future opportunities. Because to be honest, the things he said on Pierce, like I rewatched the interview before we just uh hopped on the pod. It's the nicest he's been when he's talked about the current president. So they at least got to give him credit for that. You know what I mean? Like
right.
he at least contained it. Like he at least knew to contain himself. So um yeah, it's something, man. Um, also, real quick, let me pull this up. This randomly popped up. I don't know if we'll see this, but Rob Van Dam said he's open to consider anything, which includes an open to return to the WWE. Any thoughts on that? Do you have any interest in seeing him come back? Like it's just random because you normally don't hear about RVD until he's supposed until he does show up, and then you're like, oh, this is weird. Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much interest in it. Like, I don't care if they do like a one-off or like a quick little thing, but like, you know, otherwise, I don't know. I think I think a lot of time has passed him by.
yeah, and you kind of don't want a legend like that to look bad if he comes back for a small stint, right? Because then that's the last thing people remember. Um, Case in point, Ric Flair, right? Like he almost died how many times in that ring?
Right.
So yeah, yeah. So it's interesting. It is interesting. Real quick, let me pull this up, and we got some other WWE news today. Um, oh, I was late to the start of NXT tonight. That's strange. Uh, doo-doo-doo. And Sid Vicious. I don't know if you caught this. Psycho Sid will be inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame as a legacy inductee and a member of the class of 2026. So he's in right for this year. Um,
Yep.
has they all been called legacy inductees before they said that they're in the class of 2026, or is that something? Oh, because he's getting the legacy award as well.
Well, I thought it was because he was dead. That's why they were doing that.
Yeah,
I thought they kind of changed it to the legacy inductees are people who are no
gotcha.
longer alive or like so old, like a little bit different. But it might be a little bit new language they're using. Uh, let's see. Well, this says in 2016 they introduced a new category called the Legacy Wing. Inductees in this category are from several eras of wrestling history. All but two inductees have been inducted posthumously. All right, so I'm wrong. They're not all dead, but two of the 48 are were at least alive when they did it. Uh, they don't usually get like according to this, they don't get speech time. They get a video package and that's it.
That's cool. I like that. I mean, he deserves it, right? Like, deserves it. So, um, let's see. So,
Oh,
as
and actually, it
yes.
was discontinued in 2021, but brought back last year.
Oh,
So there you
nice.
go. That's
So,
why maybe we don't recognize it.
yeah, I just thought it was weird when I first heard it. I'm like, that's cool. Like, I'm glad. Like, I feel. I don't know. Don't you think he should have been in a decent amount of time ago?
Yeah, I don't know what was going on there. Like, I don't know if that was, an issue with them, you know. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I gotcha.
but
I gotcha. So far we have Stephanie, we have AJ Styles, Demolition, Axe, and Smash, Dennis Rodman, and Psycho Sid. You think we'll get one more, or you think that's it for this year?
I think you might get one more. I mean, well, there'll probably be actually a couple more of, you know, there'll probably be a couple more things that are announced, right? But as far as like you've
Oh,
still got your moment or
that
whatever they
exactly.
call
Yep.
that, the historical moment. Uh,
Immortal moment, because last year was Bret Hart versus Stone Cold.
right. So the immortal moment. They don't do the Warrior Award anymore, do they?
No, I think that's what they took that out to do this.
I'm just gonna look back at last year's to see what they did last year. So we had three wrestlers. We had Triple H, Michelle McCool, and Lex Luger. We had one group, Natural Disasters. We had the Immortal Moment. We had one, two. We had three Legacy inductees, and I guess that was it. So they don't do the Warrior Award anymore, and they don't do what was the uh what was the award they gave to like they gave it to like that longtime referee that was like Andre the Giant's handler for a long time. I can't remember what they called it though. It wasn't the He didn't get the Warrior Award, but he got some kind of like contribution to the sport type award, but I can't think the name of it. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know if we'll get another actual wrestler. I think we'll get maybe well, we'll get our immortal moment, and then actually maybe there's one more wrestler to come. It seems like they've been doing three as I look through the last few years.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm all for it. I think it's cool. Um, I just hope we get to see it better. I guess. Um, like just to actually get to watch it because it was weird, right? Last year, because like they still had the Raw or they still had the SmackDown, but it wasn't directly on like right after, right?
No, because they had to like set up the ring. Remember?
Right.
Because
So
they like take down one side of the rope and then they put up the stairs and they drape it, right? And they put all the stuff in. I remember for the Undertaker's one, it took forever.
so
But
it
not
was
only
like
that, it was at a different spot too,
that's what
right?
it
For
was
that
last
one,
year.
it was at
They
a
went
different
down the
spot.
road.
Yeah.
Yeah, down the road they used last year. So what was it like 2 hours later, right? I think last year, like
It was a lot later. Yeah,
yeah,
it
it
was
was
like a
like
lot
midnight, I
later.
think. Yeah, but I love watching that. I just yeah. Um, and also some of people's favorite musician, Kid Rock, is really having a tough time now. Dan, that he even tried to mention a WWE thing on Twitter, and it got no visibility as his tour is about to be canceled because tickets have only been he only sold 200 tickets. So, um, gotta love when he just posts a picture of like him back at like a WWE event, like that's gonna help, and it just so great job, guys. Um, all right, let's get into the actual wrestling. Dan, you ready for a hot take?
Yep.
We are in what the third month of 2026. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
All right. Yeah. When Hunter calls us to write storylines, I just want you to keep this in the back of your mind that we know what we're talking about. Um, AEW Revolution that occurred on March 15th. It was only about 12,500 fans. Perfect venue for them to keep doing. Jeez, I'm getting goosebumps just getting ready to say this, Dan.
Yeah.
AEW Revolution with the main event being MJF and Hangman is the best pay per view of 2026 and will be the best pay per view of 2026.
Ooh,
I will
okay.
I will bet my yearly salary on that. This had everything, Dan. Everything. Here's the card real quick. So I believe the actual card started. So there was the Boom and Doom, obviously, defeating the infantry. Here, let me show this real quick. Doo-doo-doo. All right, let me see if you can see that. How that look, Dan? Is it still cloudy?
I can see it.
All right. So as you can see, it had a little bit of everything, right? It had your comedy matches. It had the TBS Championship involved, the Battle Royale for the AEW National Championship, Jack Perry defeating Ricochet. It had FTR defeating the Bucks, which if the Bucks keep wrestling like they did in this match, we're getting the PWG Bucks back. And I think AEW would be that much better if they get that version of the Bucks back every week. It just made that match made so much sense. We got Timeless Tony Storm defeating Marina Shafira. This was the only issue with the match. Did you get to catch who came out during this match, Dan?
Oh, Miss Rousey.
And then she doesn't appear on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
She
It
comes
was
in,
just like
she points
one
at
time
Tony.
thing.
Right. I who knows? Because now they were expecting Tony to be there on Wednesday, and then something happened to Tony I heard it was an injury that they don't expect her to be back for all of 2026. But then I saw a report last night that it's not an injury, it's something else going on. And AEW was unaware until like noon on Wednesday that she wasn't going to be around. So I don't know if they had
The
a plan.
pointing,
Right,
the pointing is
right,
so dumb because
right.
she's done that all the time,
And
and it's
she's
like
been told don't. She's been told don't do
it's
that.
dumb.
Just go out there. The Rock told her, go out there, look tough, pose how you want to pose. If you put your hands on people, put your hands on people. But don't give any leadway into, oh, Rousey's now AEW. And what does she do? She goes out there, turns it into the Ronda show again, and now it makes AEW look bad. Because that was one of the biggest critiques going into Wednesday night was like, all right, let's see where this Tony and R- Ronda thing are going to be. And what happened? Nothing. Um,
I'm reading that Fightful confirmed like she's not signing a deal with them at least this year.
yeah,
So
right. Just do what you were told to do. Go out there and act as a bodyguard. And then you can disappear in the shadows. But she had to put herself over again, Dan. We got Swerve and Brody King. That was awesome. Um, we saw a different type of Swerve. Uh, we got Mystico and Jet Speed beating the Don Callis family. Dan, and I gotta be honest, I gotta call Child Protective Services or something on the Don Callis family because he's just at an abundant amount of people. I feel like this is like I feel like this is when like the NWO started adding Vincent to the group. Like we're just randomly, hey, you want to be in the Don Callis family? You're in the Don. Like I feel like there's been 13 different Don Callis families, Dan, since we've been watching AEW. I can't keep track on what version we're on anymore. It makes no sense. Um, Andrade versus Bandito, and yes, for all those that are listening, Andrade took off his pants once again. Another week of where he does that. I I don't know why, but it's a thing for Andrade. The crowd seems to love it. Um, Darby Allen, Orange Cassidy, amazing team. Weird third member, Roderick Strong, mm, defeated the Dogs, David Finley, Gabe Kidd, and Clark Connors. Good match. Um, and the Texas Death Match between MJF and Hangman Page. If Page was to lose, he would never be able to challenge for the AEW World Championship again. So that's technically, if you're looking at this from start to finish, the first match 7 minutes 40 seconds, second match 11 minutes, third match 21:55 because that was a battle royale. That makes sense. The tag match between the Bucks and FTR 18:50. Tony Storm and Marina Shafira 9:50. Moxley versus Tashida 23:25. And I don't think that includes the fact that we got an Osprey running at the end. Um, which is crazy because I don't know if you saw clips of that when Osprey chased him out of the ring. He climbed the ropes. He pointed at Moxley, and then he pointed to the scar where they had to go in and like fix his neck when he broke it or whatever. Bro, it's a pretty beefy scar he has, like right under here from when they had to go in and cut it. Um, and it's cool because his return intro video was like Bane in like the like glass cylinder attached to like all these tubes, and then it said the return, and he just comes flying down the ring as always. Um, and we did get Kenny to run in on the swerve match, which was cool. So those are two big returns. But but back to the time Divine Dominion defeated the Babe the Raft. That was 5 minutes. Should have been 2 minutes. Swerve versus Brody King was 14:50. Deklev defeating Chris Statlander was 17:30. Mystical and Jet Speed defeating the Don Callis family was 17:10. Andrade versus Bandito, 21 minutes. So they got just as long as the Battle Royale did. That's wild. Darby Allin, Cassidy, Roderick Strong defeating the Dogs. That singles match beforehand got more time than the trios match did. The trios match had 12:25. And MJF defeating Hangman Page 46:20. Now start to finish, I believe this card ended around 12:45. So technically 13 matches, Dan. What are your thoughts on that? What about the programming on that?
I mean, that's not uncommon for them, right?
No.
Like long shows, decently long matches, really a lot of blood and gore and guts and blood and guts and all that good stuff.
So
Typically,
perfect segue there, Daniel. Perfect segue. Brought out the needle again for the Hangman Page and MJF match. They also brought out the bamboo spikes.
yeah, it was some good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I guess so. Because I consistently watch both, or I try to consistently watch both. I guess that's here it is. Let me see if I can blow this up for everybody here. Courtesy of Yahoo Sports. I just want to put that out there. There it is, Dan.
Yeah, yeah. Remember when they did it with Moxley, and because his head was bald, you could see it even better.
Um,
Like,
I even Bully Ray thought like this, like this was long, but I guess don't you expect that going into these AEW cards?
yeah, I mean, it's nothing new.
No,
And like, have they ever had a short, major, like pay per view or like
no,
right? Like Revolution is pretty much like Revolution and what Double or Nothing are like
they're WrestleMania
their
events.
two. Yeah, like I mean, I don't know anymore which one they consider their WrestleMania, like because Double or Nothing or All Out, right? Like kind of seem to be, but like Revolution may have taken that over a little bit. So
So Revolution 2024 had 11 matches on the card.
counting pre-show
Yep,
or 0 hour, whatever they call it.
yep, 11, and 2025 had 12. So
Yeah.
it's consistent with the past 3 years. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think the only difference
Yeah.
is, like, those cards, like 2024, the longest match was 22 minutes. In 2025, the longest match was 2029, and that was Osprey versus Kyle Fletcher. So, like,
Right.
and like, even Dynamite feels like they're trying to put too much in sometimes on a Wednesday night. It's like, I guess I just don't understand. Like, from somebody that doesn't religiously watch AEW yourself, Dan, like, if you were to say, "Oh, this AEW card seems like it's worth it. I'm gonna get this." Would you expect it to go to 12:15, 12:30 at night if it started a- at 8 o'clock?
If you've never watched it before,
Yeah, if you see, yeah, because they do a good job of promoting what's on the card.
yeah, I mean, I think you understand it's going to be a pretty long show if you're paying attention to the card,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like you're not getting so what is it? It's 8 matches on the actual card, 3 matches on the pre-show time. Like you're not putting 8 matches in 3 hours.
no,
Like that's just not happening.
no,
No
especially with
one,
a Texas death match.
no, no, right? I mean, I mean, there's no true commercials, but I mean, you're talking. Well, I mean, just the math on that doesn't work, right? Like
Yeah,
you've got 3 hours, you got 180 minutes, right? Divided by 8. That's 22 minutes a match without, if the match is stopped and ended immediately after each other with no break, right? Like, so you're getting breaks and all that. Like, you got to assume you're getting maybe 3 hours of wrestling and then an hour of fluff, vignettes and video packages, right? Like, and entrances, right? Like,
well,
that's 22 and a half minutes for each match, right? Like, I guess to include entrances, video packages, and general like little breaks and stuff. You're not you're not packing that into 3 hours with
no.
all that stuff. Just the math alone doesn't work.
Well, and my response to Bully on Twitter was, which I'm not gonna pretend like he actually responded to me was, but I did say there are two different programs between AEW and WWE. And then I also called out the fact of, what do you think the time of this card would have been if Will Osprey was healthy enough to wrestle, or if they had Kenny on this card? Because they're not giving Will or Kenny
Right.
anything less than 20-25 minutes. I mean, Will stood out there after he chased Moxley and the boys away for at least 10 to 15 minutes just doing his chant thing and then his bruv thing.
Right.
That's 15. 15 just on that alone. That's not on this Wikipedia timesheet. So, like, what
Right.
did you think was gonna, like, you could possibly say, like, if you had Will and Kenny on that card, and I was going into that card, I would say, yeah, maybe this card gets done before 1 a.m. I would
It's been like
legitimately
that in the
think,
past too.
yeah, I would legitimately think it's a 5 hour show,
Yeah.
right? Because they're not gonna. I don't know, man. I don't understand it. Uh, yeah, I don't.
I mean, people are just like
But it's just so weird that it's even like the guys on Busted Open that have been on all three sides of the curtain. They've been on the WWE side, they've been on the AEW side, they've been on the TNA side. I get it. Now it's starting to come out to the point of like, okay, we got it. You have bias. Just tell us you have bias. Just tell us you prefer TNA and WWE over AEW, and we'll completely like those of us that are logical, that read everything, that try and watch as much as we can because it's our favorite thing to watch. We will still turn into Busted Open, just because there's nothing like Busted Open.
Right.
But like, we will
Agreed.
still turn in and listen to it. We just won't take your opinions on AEW because we'll know you have somewhat of a bias. But at some point, like, you have to give them credit for it. You have to give them credit. If you want to come back and kill them and say, that was the perfect show to show WWE that even though WWE went out and bought TNA and went out and bought AAA to basically block you out of those deals and to kind of screw you over with the programming, that you're still not going away, right?
Right.
But they
Yep.
didn't do that come Wednesday night. They went back to the same thing of where it has to fall on Tony as creative, can't be consistent because he's the only guy doing it. And that's what Wednesday night was. As sad as it is, that's what AEW Dynamite was. It was just kind of like, we hope you guys enjoyed that high. We'll try and give you guys that high maybe one more time this year, but no promises. And that was it. That's all.
Yeah, not too hard.
No,
It is, and
makes no
again, like
sense.
you said, like this is not new.
No.
This is what they're known for.
Like, if you want to give them that criticism, I'm all for giving them that criticism. But Jesus, let's not pretend like, you know. But like, um, so they had Will Osprey back. You know, the Death Riders versus Bang Bang game. Here's the other thing too, right? If Osprey comes out and calls the Death Riders out and says, "I'm going through all of you. I'm hunting all of you." Wednesday night, are you putting Osprey back in the ring with Blake Christian? Or are you building the fact that Osprey wants to break Moxley's neck just like Moxley broke his?
I mean, I'm building the Moxley thing.
So once again, it's perfectly okay
Right.
to critique this. Cuz this made I like, if you got to put him out there cuz you're not sure at the level that he's out there, then let him go out there and cut a promo. They still would have been white
Right.
hot behind him. And does for somebody, I know you were really high on AEW when they had Punk and MJF going on.
Hmm.
The Death Riders
I
versus
did.
the Bang Bang Gang draw you in at all?
No. Nope.
The Death Riders is probably the hottest group in wrestling just based on what they're doing all over the independent scene, and then we still get this. The coffin match is kind of cool for, like, a standalone thing. The Darby Allen versus Gabe Kidd. I think we can kind of say we're over this. And Swerve challenges Kenny to put his EVP status on the line. And then, which that can be interesting. I want to pick your brain on that before we get into Raw. We had Speedball Mike Bailey versus Bark Davis. We saw Speedball in person. He's exciting to watch in person.
He is.
I don't think this pulls the eyes in after Revolution that Tony thinks it does. The no holds bars Brina Shafira versus Mina Shakira. That's only because Tony wasn't there. The Young Bucks and Jungle versus the Don Callis family. I mean, here's the thing. Before we get in the Swerve thing, because now this is going to get me pissed off to listen to Busted Open tomorrow. Um, because I just know what I'm gonna hear. Like it's just, and it's like, just give me 10 minutes on the mic. That's all I'm asking for. Um, the way Tony lets his top guys go out and do whatever they want at Revolution, do you think that puts them behind the eight ball when it comes to a follow up show? If they didn't have to put their bodies through what they put their bodies through on a Revolution card and could possibly at least come by that Wednesday night dynamite after a Saturday or Sunday show to at least cut a promo to at least start the next run, do you think that would help consistency, or do you think it's more of this is just what the AEW fans like at this point? They like the blood and guts, they like the gore on the PLEs. Because the way that I'm viewing this, right? Not a lot of people. The argument is you can't compare AEW to WWE. And the biggest thing I see and the biggest thing I say is, or I hear from the so-called wrestling journalist, is that AEW doesn't have the production that WWE has. And that's fine. I will say that's true, right? But I
Yeah.
don't think we can say it's because of financials. Because I think Tony's a lot closer financially based on the sports teams that he's involved with, the funding from his dad, like based on the financials, I don't think it's it. It's obviously the TKO factor that WWE has that AEW hasn't, right? Like, but I was wondering because it's been said by Hangman, it's been said by Swerve, it's been said by Kenny, the Bucks, like you name it, and they've said it on some podcasts that when they bring an idea to Tony for like Revolution or All Out or All In, whatever it is, and say, hey, this is what we want to do, Tony rarely brings them back to earth on like, hey, maybe we should conserve some of this.
Yeah.
Do you think that them getting the green light on everything for their big show kind of hinders their follow up shows?
I mean, it might a little bit, but like it's probably in. I mean, in their mind, I guess it can be debated by fans. Like in their mind, it's not. It's worth it for them,
That's fine.
right? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
No, that makes sense because, like, the way that I'm viewing this, right? I view AEW in the same lens that I viewed ECW. Because there's a certain set of fans that don't like WWE just because they know they're not going to get the product that ECW did back in the day.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think, and we're just in a new age generation of that now. Like I just think that's what it is. Like we're having the ECW debate all over again. Um, yeah, I mean, I just want to see consistency because it feels. Oh my god, Dan! I I was gonna text you screenshots of so many things when I was watching this on Sunday night, but I'm like, oh, it is late. Um, when you watch that AEW Revolution pay per view, you go away from that card thinking they are so close. They are so close. They have the talent. They can do it on the big cards, but it's the consistency. They don't have the consistency to put together a show during the week that can rival what's on Monday, Fridays, Wednesdays, and what's AAA on Saturday nights on YouTube. Like they don't have that now. That's the problem. They don't have that
Right.
consistency. and they need to fix that. And I think they're so close. Oh my god, like I said, this is probably the best pay per view of 2026, and we're only in March. And I don't think for WrestleMania to compare to this AEW Revolution card, they would have to have a whole segment again with The Rock, The Undertaker, Cena. Like they would have to pull out all the top guns to be like, hey, this is what we have to do. Like it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Um, so yeah, trying to think if there's anything else. And then MJF had a pretty good interview on CVC. And before we switch to the WWE stuff, I wanted to get your perspective on this.
Mhm.
Prime MJF or peak Roman Reigns of the original Bloodline? Who would you rather have to be the anchor of your show?
Prime MJF.
100%. 100%.
For me, I don't even have to think about it.
100%, because I feel like you can do.
Well, that's I thought about it for about 8 seconds.
I think you could do Roman's career in the first half bad. The second half, Bloodline saved his status.
Hmm.
And when you look at the big Hebrew himself, MJF, everything he's done has been good, even on the indies. If you
Yeah.
go back to watch that creative wrestling with Brian Myers, everything he's done has been very, very good. So they have the pieces. I don't know what it would take to make Tony be like, let me go get a writing team of 3 to 4 people. Because let's be honest, he can pay him. That's not an issue. So I know we haven't done much of an AEW segment, so I wanted to start with that. But big thing from them on the pay per view, big letdown on Dynamite. So we'll see if they can come back. Um, moving forward, Dan. Monday Night Raw. Were you able to catch the full thing, or did you have to work through it?
I watched the whole thing now. I did not watch
Okay.
it all live, but yeah.
What were your thoughts?
Um, I mean, I thought it was a really strong Raw, especially considering like what it has been. Um, you know, recently. So I thought it was pretty strong in general. I
Yeah,
thought it started off pretty good and it ended really good. So
that's 2 straight weeks, but it's starting off with Brock, right? I think, right? Um, but yeah, I has the Brock and Oba stuff grown on you at all?
I mean, I don't know that I'd say it's grown on me, but like I didn't have a problem, you know, with it to begin with.
I like that.
Or I liked where it was going, or that they were doing it in the first place. So I'm I'm cool. I'm happy with it. I'm interested to see how it's gonna go. That part I really don't know. You know.
Yeah. Um, I think Paul Heyman's promo about Oba was very well done. Calling him the most hype that they've ever had in WWE, and it's going to be a complete failure. We got that old school Paul Heyman back. We got that Paul Heyman back from when Brock was going to kill the streak, Brock. If you believe that really Brock was supposed to kill the streak. I don't. But That's a different argument for a different day. We can get into that argument once we start the podcast conversation about the l- l- legacy of the belts, because we have to do that too. Because I think a tad bit of change with the belts, Dan, and I know that really grinds the gears for you.
That really gets me going.
Um, yeah, overall, I liked it. Uh, you think Paul crossed the line with talking about Seth's daughter? I saw that go around a lot on Twitter as well. Paul probably doesn't make that comment if he doesn't have the approval from Seth, right?
Probably not.
Yeah, that's what I was
I'd
thinking
be
too.
shocked if 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 he did that without. But
I if it wasn't a top guy like Seth, I could see Paul pulling that out of, just pulling that out of his pocket as a weapon. But with that being a top guy, Paul always respects the top guys. That's why I think he might have pulled Seth to the side earlier and said, "Hey, what do you think about this line?" Um, Overall, it had what? How many matches? Let me see. Here you go. Penta defeating Dominic Mysterio. Dom looked off in that match for some reason. I don't know why, but that was Penta retains. We got Bailey and Lyra defeating the Kabuki Warriors. Devon Evans defeating Grayson Waller. I forgot Grayson Waller was still on the roster. And the Vision defeating the Usos because Jay Uso got to use the brass knuckles. So we only got 4 matches again, Dan. 4 matches for 2.5 hours, right? It was 10:30 again, I think. 10:35 ish, I think. I think. Yeah, 10:35 ish. I think it ended. Um, this seems to be the new format for Raw. How do you how do you feel about it? Because obviously this isn't the type of card that we grew up watching on Raw. But like, how did this 4 match and 5 promos, you know, sit with you?
I mean, when it's a show like last night, I don't have a problem. Right?
Agreed.
Like
That's the easiest way to
it's
say
not
it.
an it's all about what they're gonna do with it, right? Like you know, I don't want to keep beating the dead horse, but you know, when we're sitting at a Raw and watching a wedding, like I want more matches, right?
Or yeah, yeah, yep. Um, yeah, or Sasha Banks, when she's laying on the floor for an hour and a half because she took a clothesline. Remember that house show, Dan? Like that's all she took was a
Wasn't
clothesline.
that the same one?
Yeah, it was just earlier in the show.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, because then TJ was sitting next to me and he goes and he screams, "Why hasn't she got up yet?" Like even a kid at the time realized, like, what are we doing here? Um, so yeah, I mean, I get like that's why I don't know. That's why like I haven't really been big on like the tribalism with this stuff because I feel like you get the best of both worlds, right? Like if you want that grunge like house show feel, TNA's perfect for that. You can still see the up and comers. If you want that international New Japan like crazy stuff you're gonna see, you can watch AAA on the weekends on YouTube. If you want like a cinematic thing to your wrestling to where like the storylines are deep, Raw is where you're going to get that because they're giving you 4 matches. And then if you just want craziness upon craziness, it's AEW. Like they, this is one thing I think we'll agree on, and the rest of the wrestling community will hate us about. We'll never get them to agree on this. I think every promotion that's out there now and that's viable they complement each other very, very well because they all have something that the other one doesn't have. Even if we're throwing AAA into this as well, right? Like AAA has the history. So if you want to go back to the history of the l- luchador matches, it fits perfectly. It fits. Um,
Right.
is this the first time Brock is heading into WrestleMania as an underdog?
Um, I mean, if not the first, it's certainly the second. I mean, I think everybody would have thought he was underdog
With Taker?
um, with Taker. So right, because he's going against the streak. I'm not
Hmm.
sure that he would have been an underdog. I mean, maybe early on in matches I can't think of,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but but also we have time, right? Like I assume he's going to get a couple of one ups and over before we get to the end of this.
Yeah, because he's back on every Raw they posted
Right,
until Mania.
right.
So he's not going anywhere, and Paul's not going anywhere. So you
Right.
know that they're going to have something planned. Yeah, yeah, I mean, I don't um it feels like how do I put this? I'm a big fan of Oba. I liked what he did at NXT. He looked more comfortable in NXT than he does on the main roster. It may just be because of the guys that he's working with now that their names are so big that he gets worried about it. But I feel like this is starting to slowly feel when WWE tried to push Roman down our throats.
Could be.
Like it just feels like I don't know if it's because of Obo's comfortability level, because he's such a big fan of Joe Rogan, or because Brock had to lay there in the ring and tell him put your foot on my chest. Right? Like when you're doing these things with Brock, like you don't have these things to screw up on. Like you have to be on top of your game. And I don't know if Obo's ready for that. I would probably like to see Obo go against somebody else. But here's the other thing I wanted to ask you. 3 straight weeks and there's no Gunther.
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing there.
Like what sense is it for him to be retiring everybody?
Yeah.
You know how I would have tied him into the Roman and Punk stuff? R- Ready for this, Daniel?
Yeah.
When R- Roman called him old, called Punk old during the podcast or during the promo, sorry, I would have said something along the lines of, "And after I get done beating your ass at Mania, I'm gonna send you to Gunther so you can get your retirement tour just like everybody else that I've wrecked in this league." Right? Because then you got the tribal chief talking about Gunther. You got the fact of like, well, yeah, maybe if Roman does beat up on him that bad, he's gonna send him to Gunther, right? So then you got Punk and Gunther tied together just by something that the tribal chief said. So even if he's not on TV, he's still getting some pop to his name. We haven't heard anything. So this is really killing the whole push you were trying to do with him retiring everybody. Like it's weird that we haven't had Gunther in 3 weeks. And I think we had 2 to 4 weeks prior to that of him and Ray Phoenix back to back to back. Like what are we doing with that? I think now this is just an idea that I concocted when I got bored at work today. Not too sure if this is true because I haven't seen this reported anywhere. Do you think Gunther's absence might be tied to the fact that Rey Mysterio broke his ribs again?
It could be.
because he's
right? I mean, this
supposedly the
right.
next
That's
one
what
out.
happens.
Yeah.
This is what happens, right? They have a plan. Somebody gets injured, and they might not have a pivot plan right away. So it's like, okay, well, just take a few weeks off, like, or come around. Obviously, he's probably there, but you might not get used. We got to figure something out, but right now we don't know what that is yet. Because right when they hastily do things, it never feels good.
No.
You know,
And
so
yeah.
you know, and his absence obviously is a little noticeable, like you pointed out,
Yeah.
but that's better than, oh, Ray got hurt. Let's have you attack Drew McIntyre and we can have you two wrestle. It's like, okay, like out of nowhere, you just decide to attack him. And you're no longer the retiring guy because Drew McIntyre's not being retired anytime soon.
Yeah. I don't like I just I don't know. Um we can move on from Gunther because I think WWE has as well. Uh our boy Danhausen. How do you feel with how he's being used? He hasn't wrestled yet.
I think it's great. I think it's great right now. I think I was reading or listening to something where they were talking about how obviously his debut kind of fell flat originally coming out of the box, and some people in the arena were like maybe even booing him a little bit or kind of like not interested. But since then, it's recovered, right? Because he's doing his shtick and it's funny and it's quick and it's a good little break from maybe a more serious thing. And they're using it to bring a little levity to the show, have a little fun with it, and at any point they can decide to put him into a match for any reasons. Just like I mean, I said this before, and I hate to always be like comparing, but this is what wrestling is. It's always a comparison to something from the past.
Yep.
I mean, this is very much an R Truth type thing. Now, I'm not saying Danhausen is like our truth, but his role can be very much like our truth, where you're going to throw him in a match and people are going to be like, "Holy crap, he can wrestle!"
Correct.
It'll be fun to watch, and it'll be funny at times. And then you might not see him wrestle again for a couple of months, and that's fine. And that's exactly what Truth did. So, and now they've got Truth doing this thing with as a tag team, and like while he might still have a little bit of the comedy part of it, like he's wrestling more than he has
Yep.
in a while, consistently at least. Um, and that's great. So I love it. I was always a big fan of his. I thought he was really funny. So, and I think it's showing that the fans kind of are embracing that a little bit now that they've gotten to see it. And I think we talked about this last time. You know, I hope someday we'll see him do something with Punk. I would assume, once Punk's not champion again, um, you might see some stuff with that, and I think that'll be good.
Yeah, and he did the right thing about the next time he was on WWE TV. He even made a joke about how his premiere wasn't great when he met with the SmackDown GM backstage. That's how he came up with the list of demands. So he even had the wit about him to pick on himself about, hey, this wasn't great. This isn't what we talked about, type of thing. Um, Side note: did you know when AEW signed him, he still had the broken leg from the Indies?
I think I did read that
So
somewhere.
that's why he didn't wrestle for a while.
Yeah, and I mean that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah. Of course. Um, WWE has also filed these trademarks related to Danhausen. Girlhausen, Ghoulhausen, Kidhausen. How much you want to bet we're gonna get some brand new material just in time for WrestleMania? Because my My oldest is already asking for the Danhausen wrestling buddy. So,
Yeah, and I mean, right, you got to give it to all the fan housings, right? Like they got to get their shirts, they got to get their toys, like,
yep.
and that's another thing I think WWE is doing, right? Like this is a nice little revenue stream that is very popular, going to be very popular with kids, and then also is going to become popular with some of the adults because they just find him very funny, and he's an easy character to just get behind, right? Because right, they just love the whole like cursing thing, right? And then kids just love him because of who he is, and he's funny looking, and he talks funny, and he does funny things. Adults like him because some of his humor, is a little bit above a kid's understanding, but it's funny to us. Well, a kid might laugh but not know why they're laughing. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I saw the resale value on the Danhausen figures is up to $60 now a figure on eBay.
there you go.
So it's double the price. So like print money
Good for
for him.
him.
Um
Right. Good for him. If nothing else, like even if he never steps in the ring to wrestle, I'm sure he's making a decent amount, and then he's gonna make a boatload for a while on the merch, and maybe he won't have to do sales on whatnot anymore like he was doing.
oh, he has so much stuff to clean out of his storage shed stand. I think he's going to have to be doing whatnot sales for a while. Just all the collectible stuff he has. He we definitely have that in common. And shout out to our Truth and Damian Priest for winning the tag titles. Our Truth was the only one that knew they were going to get the tag titles. Damian had no idea. That's why he had that look on his face when they did win it. Um, and also, I wanted to bring this up to you before you talk about Roman and Punk. ITR Wrestling. I don't know if you ever read some of this stuff, Dan. It's decent. They had something from Brock. What do you think Brock's one request was leading up to his retirement?
I don't know. I don't know.
So it originally came out in an interview. He said he wanted to remain undefeated till his retirement because he wanted to make his swan song have a major impact. But then a day or two later, it came out and said, well, it was about how he wanted to do business and how he was going to earn so much money. We've heard this before, right? With Brock. Like, he's called himself a prize fighter. Like, this is what it's always been. So who knows what's going on? I don't think anybody like really cares. Like it's gonna be wild though that Brock doesn't get a retirement tour like Cena does. If you asked me 5 years ago, I would have said Brock gets a retirement tour.
Well, he doesn't want one, right? And then also, like,
Well, and you can't do it for every top guy, right? Like it's like they
I
have
don't
to be
know.
like the
I don't
Mount
know that a
Rushmore.
tour fits him,
No, he's not
right?
that
Like,
guy. He works
right,
12 days a
like,
year. 12 days a year.
right. Like, Cena made sense to come back and do a full time run, right? Like, anybody who does, like, AJ, obviously, like, you
Triple
know,
H, I think, deserved one, but never really got one. He just got
yeah,
that
I mean,
last run in. Yeah,
right. Medical kind of stopped that. And, like,
yeah.
retirement tours are a little bit more of a thing now. Like, right, like 20 years ago, these guys weren't doing retirement tours. They were having a last match. And then most of them were then coming back later anyway. But um it's just it doesn't fit for Brock at all. Like, to me, it makes sense for him to have a final match that is his final match, but there doesn't need to be 10 matches leading up to that, right? That would be the most matches he's done in a 12-month span in the last, what, 10 years,
10, 15 years, I would
right?
say, yep. Yep.
Right? Like he's only ever done what, two or three maybe 4 matches a year. Otherwise, like for the last 10 to 15 years. So it just to me wouldn't make any sense. Like
Yeah, I just like
because he also to me wouldn't work anymore as a weekly consistent. I know they're kind of doing that now leading up to WrestleMania, but like to me, if he came back today, or if he came out today and said like, "Well, I'm gonna put," if he did what Cena did, "I'm gonna put a full time schedule together for the next 12 months. I'm gonna have 41 dates over 12 months or whatever it is, well, no, 16 dates over 12 months, whatever it was, right?"
yeah,
To me, I don't think that that would be very appealing, to be honest, because it'd be weird to have him there every week cutting promos and having one-off matches, or I mean, I guess Cena didn't have a lot of one-off matches, but you know what I mean, like cutting promos a bunch and getting into these like more intricate storylines because I mean, right, what was the slogan for the longest time? Like eat, sleep, F5, repeat,
yep,
like, or whatever it was. Like, they had a couple variations of
yep,
that, right? But it was like that's that's what he was. He was show up, beat the crap out of somebody, walk away, and then a month later do it again, maybe, or 6 months later do it again. Like,
yep,
it's a little weird seeing him every week, actually, even now. So,
yeah. It no, I agree. I agree. That's for sure. Um, yeah, it's interesting, man. It's very interesting. Uh, I would love to see Karrion Cross versus Brock. I wish we still had him. I, every time I see Aleister Black, I think to myself, can we just give that back to Karrion Cross? Like that's just kind of how that's just kind of how I am.
right,
Like I think there's more potential in Karrion than there is in Aleister Black. So it is what it is. Like obviously, you know, um, yeah, it's not great, but we'll see. All right, so let's get to this Roman stuff, and then we can do our Mania bracket. Dan, um,
do it.
let's start this off. What do you think's going on with the Bloodline? Feels like it's a deeper and darker version of the Bloodline.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I mean, I guess it kind of depends on what you think is going to happen with WrestleMania, right? Like, do you think? I know you've kind of talked about it with some of our friends and family that watch as well. Like, if you think like Roman's going to win, is this a reboot of the dominant bloodline with maybe a little bit of a darker twinge to it of like, we're going to run this place, we're going to dominate, right? We're going to smash them, we're going to stack them and smash them, right? Like, but we're going to do it a little more viciously because we're going to be a little bit darker about it this time. Um, so I think if you think he's going to win, that it could be the reemergence of that the bloodline like that, and a little bit more heelish in the end. Although he got a pretty good pop beating the crap out of Punk last night. Like fans were, I mean, you know, a lot of chanting one more time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Um. What do you think about this version of Jay?
Um, I mean, I guess it depends on like where it's gonna go. Like, I think it's fine in general. Like, because I think if we're right, or if I'm right on what I just said, like that's how it ends up going. Like, I think that's a difference you could see too. Of like, okay, Roman's still the tribal chief, but this bloodline has a lot more equality among its members than the last time, right? And Jay can assert himself that way of being more than just a follower, not necessarily the leader, but almost like a co-leader ish, right? Like of like helping keep Roman focused. His own physical version of the wise man in a way, you know.
What if we're getting a bloodline that's finally on all the same level? Because hear me out. Roman was the tribal chief, right? Obviously, he's the one on top of the mountain. He got the um, deck list from the ancestors. He was basically anointed that on the WWE show. What if part of the reason the bloodline fell apart last time was they all got sick of Roman calling the shots? Not only do we see a version of Jay, where he's getting darker and more violent, especially when it comes to the family, that Roman's starting to realize this is the version of Jay he's been trying to get at all this time. This was the Jay he was trying to pull out of him when he beat him for the title.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
if you think about it, Jay called the shot and said, Joe, get him. He doesn't get out of this ring. Joe, get him. And what did Roman do? He speared him. But he didn't spear him until Jay said, Joe, take care of this, basically, right? Jay called the shots. So if Roman realizes Jay's finally stepping into that dark side, he knows Jimmy's soon gonna follow because Jimmy was already there. Jimmy was the last brother that was technically left within there. Now we go to SmackDown. What happened on SmackDown? The MFT is starting to tell Solo he's starting to sound a lot like the old tribal chief did. So what if we
Right.
see Solo bump around and eventually ends back up on Raw? And what if they're just all on the same, you know, same status in the group? Obviously, they're still going to have the tribal chief because they respect the decision of the ancestors. But what if all of a sudden, hey, here we all are? And Solo may think he could still get the MFTs to join that. So you're telling me you're going to have a bigger, better bloodline group running through not Raw, not SmackDown, not NXT. Well, technically, probably not NXT because did you see they lost their TV rights? So they're only streaming on YouTube now. So they probably won't put the Bloodline on that show. Bloodline goes through TNA. Bloodline shows up and runs house on a Saturday night at a AAA show and takes on those belts. You're peak Bloodline all over again. You know what I'm saying? They show up, they wreck everybody, they leave. Just like that shirt that Roman had. Show up, wreck everyone, leave, get paid. Like, like I'm thinking the way that my brain is calling this right now, and it's probably wrong, but my brain is calling this as this was the Jey Uso that Roman was trying to get involved in the group all along. And Punk running his mouth has finally pulled this out of Jay. Punk running his mouth has pulled this out of Jay. Jay's ongoing issues with the vision has pulled this out of Jay. So on and so on. I don't think they turn on Roman at WrestleMania.
No, I don't think so either.
I think you may get a split to where Jay helps Roman and Jimmy may think he's helping Roman, but something gets screwed up and he inadvertently helps Punk, which could cause issues. But I don't think I don't think they directly I don't think they get involved. Do you think anybody gets involved in that match?
No, I don't think so.
Me either.
Unless they were trying to do a complete swerve to let Punk keep it, but they don't want him to beat him outright. But I don't see that. I actually think Roman's going to win.
Oh, you think Punk's dropping that fast? Do you
Yeah.
think AJ's dropping that then? So they take a break together?
I don't know about that. I'm not sure Punk will take a break necessarily. I just wonder if I just have this weird feeling. It's not what I want. It's just what I think. Um, I think they're going to let Roman reestablish, and to do that, he has to win.
I think something
So,
happens that Roman doesn't win. Because I don't think the chase is over yet. I don't know what it is, right? Like, I don't know what's going on. But I don't think, you know, I don't think we're there yet. So yeah, so that's it. How are you feeling going into Mania? We could talk about the actual card when we get time next week or the following week, but I wanted to know your thoughts.
yeah. I mean, overall, I think we're okay, right? There's still some time. They've continued to go longer and longer without you know um, confirming the full card. So I think there's still a lot to come. I mean, we've got what 6 matches confirmed now, so we still got a lot to go, and now we're just used to it of them waiting and waiting and waiting. I mean, we're still one, two, we're still 3 weeks away, so we'll see. But overall, I think I'm fine with
Nice.
it.
I would agree. Um, I think we're getting there. So, should be interesting. Should be interesting. All right, let me pull this up now. So, when you get bored and everybody in your house is sleeping because you got 2 little ones and your wife goes to bed early and you played over 3 hours of WWE 2K26, your brain starts to wander, Dan. And to figure out if it's insomnia, anxiety, or just the fact I can't sleep, Jimbo tries to get a little bit creative. So, I sent this to you. Hopefully, you got time to look at it. I created a WrestleMania Match Madness bracket, as in March Madness. No big deal. I broke it down into 4
That
categories.
time of year.
It's the best time of year. Work rate classics, main event legends, a spectacle and chaos, and giving some love to women's evolution and the modern era. How did you want to do this, Dan? Did you want to do 8 versus 8 out of each brackets, or did you want to pick like 4 out of each brackets, then go from there? What do you think works best?
I mean, if you want to do it, I mean, if we want to do it just through March Madness, it's 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7 in each quarter here, right?
In each bracket?
In
Okay.
each region, right? Like one
Yep.
versus eight in each region, and you kind of just follow along so that a winner comes out of each bracket or each region or category you have, which I really like these categories. Um, and our final four is going to be one from each.
All right. Yeah. So we could start that on this show. And then
And
go.
this is your seeding of them, right? Or did you just put them in any order that you could think?
Um.
I mean, it kind of looks like this is the seeding.
Yeah, it is in the seating, but it was
Yeah.
kind of like in order at the time. But I think my thoughts on the order, were where I thought it fit in perfectly.
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah, no, I think this looks right for the seating as I browse through.
So yeah, which one do you want to start with first, Dan?
Let's just start with main event legends because that one is just it's a tough one.
Yeah. Okay.
I think they're all going to be tough, but this is going to pull on some heartstrings doing this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Well, and especially the Eddie Guerrero that's in the work rate classics. Like that's probably a top 5, top 10 match of all time. Um. So yeah, what did you? Well, what's your thoughts on that, Dan? Who you picking on that bracket?
I mean, in a 1v8 matchup of Hogan Andre versus Daniel Bryan Orton Batista, I mean, I'd have to go Hogan Andre.
Agreed. Agreed.
I think you can be any other way.
No, I agree. 100% agree. Um, Rock Austin, Triple H Batista. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rock Austin for sure.
Um, Undertaker, Shawn, Cena, The Rock.
Oh man, see, this is. I mean, my gut tells me Undertaker Shawn, but
I know. I know. I
Cena
know.
and Rock.
I know. I know.
I mean, right? So that's. Uh, let me just look a couple things here. I just want to see one thing. Oh,
Because don't forget, like this was the first like big Twitter feud back and forth for WrestleMania. This is the one they built a year in advance. This is the one that The Rock hashtag boot to asses, and then hashtag fruity pebbles, and then Cena went out the next week and got the endorsement from Fruity Pebbles. Like this was it.
yeah. I mean, but this is Shawn Michaels' retirement.
I know, I know, I know, I know, I know,
Oh,
I know. It changed
oh,
the landscape of wrestling for sure. But
I think you could argue they both did.
yeah.
Also, just as a funny side note, because I was looking up the card from WrestleMania 25, I totally forgot that Chris Jericho was in a handicap elimination match against Jimmy Snuka, Ricky Steamboat, and Roddy Piper with Ric Flair in their corner.
Oh, I kind of remember that.
Yeah. Anyway, I was just like, wait, what? um, I don't know. Think I think I'm gonna go Rock Cena. I
I
think so.
That's what I have down here. That's what I have down
Okay.
here.
I think just because I mean the Fruity Pebbles line is one of my favorite lines
Oh yeah.
of that. In general, it's one of my favorite promo lines in general, and certainly the retirement thing it was a big deal. But I think the Rock Cena is just better.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, and the best thing about this one was this is kind of when you really got to see Cena go off the cuff. And he said, "Yeah, that's fine. Call me what you want to call me." But the last time I checked, I don't got to put my promos on my wrist. Nice
Yeah, and
tattoo, Rock.
that was those were great.
Yeah,
Everything was great.
it's one of the best like DVDs to go back and watch when it was on Peacock. Like if I couldn't sleep, I would throw that on all the time, and it was just great to watch. Here now, this is. I think this one's a lot easier than I thought when I wrote it down. Thinking about it now, R- Roman Cody at 40, Brett Sean Iron Man at 12.
I mean, I I don't know where you're headed on this because like the way you set that up, but like I'm going Brett Sean.
Yeah, but there's a lot of debate online that like technically based on what we saw from Roman Cody, that was peak Bloodline. And I'm like, yeah, but this is still like this is still hatred between Brett and Sean Ironman.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on with that, like, right? Because like that's second year in a row, Cody loses the first year,
Yep.
and then the whole thing with the Rock and the flip back and forth with who he was fighting, and then the match the night before, and then of course the crazy friggin' ending to that match. I mean, I get it, but like Brett Sean Iron Man was just amazing. It really was.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Did you want to keep doing the regions
Yeah,
or okay?
why not? I
Uh.
mean that match also went into sudden death overtime, right? Like,
And Brett was pissed about it. Yep.
right.
Yeah. So for that section, we both have 1, 2, 6, 5.
Right. So
One,
yeah.
two, six,
So
five. Yeah. So we're pretty much we are exactly the same on that region.
right.
Let's do spectacle and chaos then next. Um,
Okay.
I mean this one's pretty easy because this kind of was a staple for WWE just to sell for years of toys. TLC WrestleMania 16 Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be PLC.
Yep.
That's just such an iconic.
Yep. Firefly Funhouse was a cool thing, but I just don't think it never got over the way it thought it would. Um,
Right.
Undertaker, Hunter, Hell in a Cell, Big Show versus Floyd. Floyd Mayweather, sorry.
I mean, I think Hell in a Cell
Yep.
for sure.
Yep. Shane McMahon versus The Miz, Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, this was the first ever Money in the Bank ladder match where Edge defeated He Who Should Not Be Named, Chris Jericho, Christian, Kane, and Shelton Benjamin, I believe. Yep.
Yeah.
So we got our Benoit sighting
Um.
in there.
Yeah. No, it's gonna happen for sure. Hold on. I just want to see something about. That was a false count anywhere match for those two.
And the
I think
tagline
I'm
was,
going.
yeah,
I think I'm going money in the bank.
yeah, I think so too. Uh, and supposedly it had 1,090,000 in pay per view buys.
Jeez.
So looks like we're gonna be almost the same now. Um, let's see. Ronda and Angle versus Hunter and Stephanie versus Brock and uh, Ronda and Angle, Hunter and Stephanie, WrestleMania 34. Brock versus Roman, WrestleMania 31.
That's the Seth Rollins cash in, right?
Yes. When Seth came out of nowhere. Yep.
Spectacle and chaos. Yeah, I mean, I think Brock Roman has to go there. I mean, the Ronda thing at the time was interesting, right? That she was getting involved, but obviously that never really went to a level we thought it could. So
Mm-hmm.
I think Brock Roman on that one. In my head for a second, I was thinking this was where he lifted the ring with the friggin'
Tractor.
tractor, but then I realized it's not that one
Yeah.
because that was quite a spectacle too.
Yeah, and then that's when he did the cute little like microphone flip, and R- Roman just caught it
Yes,
like
he
this. I
caught it.
think. Yeah.
It was great.
Um. Oddly enough, 1, 2, 6, 5 again. So it's the same as the first region. Work rate classics now. This one's gonna be fucking. This is gonna be tough. This is. Brett Stone Cold WrestleMania 13, TLC 2, Edge and Christian versus Harley versus Dudley's WrestleMania 17.
Oh, God, that's tough right off the bat.
Yeah,
But that's Steve Austin blood, right?
that
Like
passes out the
passes out, doesn't really give
immortal
up,
moment. Yeah,
right? I think that's hard to pass that one up as in general, like the way that was.
yeah,
DLC two is oh man, that's tough. I feel
yeah.
bad for the eight seed here, but for work rate specifically, I think you got to go Brad Stone Cold.
Agreed. Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels 21, or Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero from the same card.
I'm not remembering that as much. Let's see something.
Funny enough, that match was 27 minutes and 26 seconds long.
Longest match on the card. Whereas Ray and Eddie, who started off the show, was only 12 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Keep them on submission. Mm. I think you got to go Kurt and Sean. According to this too, if it matters, it was the match of the year for 2005 Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Yeah,
And in 2019, WWE named it the fifth best WrestleMania match of all time.
yeah. Well, because this one was the one that pushed Kurt into the storyline to go against Batista after this, because Batista had the belt. Um,
Angle thinks it's the best match he's ever had. So.
yeah. Uh, Seth Rollins versus Cody at WrestleMania 38, or Charlotte versus Rhea. This one's easy for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going Seth Cody
Yeah,
on that one.
agreed. Agreed. Um, AJ versus Shane, which I don't really remember this one, and Edge versus Mick Foley hardcore match. This is easy. Was this?
I don't really remember Shane and AJ either. I'm looking at it right now, but um,
What would I say?
coast to coast with the trash can.
Was this when
Um,
AJ had Omos as the bodyguard?
um, is. Let's see. I don't think so.
It was 20 minutes long? No. It was 20 minutes long? They gave Shane McMahon 20 minutes?
I mean, he is the boss's son. At the time, at least.
And
Um,
and they allowed Shane to do a shooting star press. Jesus Christ, Vince hates his kids.
well, we knew that. I'm gonna go Charlotte Rhea. I mean Edge Foley because just don't know much about Styles McMahon, so I can't imagine it. You know,
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
still stunned on the fact that they allowed Shane to do a fucking shooting star press. So for that one, we're basically the same throughout so far. We have 1, 2, 3, 5. Pretty cool.
yeah,
Pretty cool. And then for
yeah.
our last
Women's
bracket,
Evolution.
yeah, our last bracket tonight. Becky, Charlotte, Ronda, WrestleMania 35. It's a part of the women's evolution that I could think of, and like current stuff. Um, Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going Becky, Charlotte, Ronda on that one for sure.
Yeah, I agree. The Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew wasn't bad. It was hard hitting, but it just felt like three guys of the same styles. I think that's why it felt weird. Um, Bianca and Sasha, Sami Zayn and Katie and KO versus the Usos. I think that's when Sammy and KO won the titles.
I think so too. Um,
Did they win that night? Yep, they won the undisputed. Yep. Yeah, because they were the ones that broke the streak of like how long the Usos had it. Yeah,
yeah,
I gotta go KO and Sammy.
yeah, I do too. I do too. Bianca and Sasha was the main event of night one, but
Mm-hmm. Um, Rhea versus Asuka, WrestleMania 37. Logan Paul versus Seth. Why don't I remember Logan Paul versus Seth?
I don't really remember it either. Um,
Oh, this is when Paul tried to use the Prime mascot, but it was his buddy KSI, and KSI got pulled
oh
in the
yeah,
way of the splash, and then
yeah. I think I'd go. I think I'd go Rhea Asuka on this. I was looking it up. Like it seems like it wasn't that long ago in my head, but this was also like short blonde hair Rhea.
yeah,
So I think I'd go Rhea Asuka on this. Rhea's first Raw championship, Raw Women's Championship. 3 weeks after her main roster debut. Point of this.
interesting,
I think
interesting,
I already
interesting.
know. Already know. That's I want to look something up.
Yeah, this was before all the tattoos.
Yeah, there's a lot different.
It's
Different stuff.
wild, man, wild. Ugh. And then here's one: Charlotte versus Becky versus Sasha, and Bailey versus Naomi.
I think I'm going the triple threat one there, but I just want to see one thing if I remembering something about it.
Wait, where's the main of that? Did I have that wrong?
No, I think you have it right. Yeah, you have it right. WrestleMania 32.
No, I'm talking about the Bailey
Oh,
Naomi
that
one.
one.
I think I might be wrong on that one.
So the Charlotte Becky Sasha one is the end of the Divas title, right? Like this goes
Yeah.
to the actual the real championship. They get rid of the Divas title. I was just looking up one thing. If this was
Sorry, that should be Bailey versus Io, not Naomi.
oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Bailey versus Io. But I don't think that's going to change our thought process here. So, yeah, I'm probably going the triple threat.
I'm going the triple threat too for sure.
So yeah, that's where we stand right now. Sitting pretty good in regards to this card. We're pretty much spot on the same for all of these so far.
Yeah.
I think the tough one's going to be the main event legends. That's going to be tough.
Yeah, the next round is gonna
Because out of that, we get Hogan, Andre, Brett, Shawn, and then Rock, Austin, Cena, Rock. So that's rough.
I'm gonna have to
So
think about that.
yeah, we
For
got
the next
time.
week.
Yeah, we got time to do some research and get back to it. But yeah, anything else you had to add today, Dan, that I may have missed or we may have forgot on the
I think
storyline?
just the one quick thing to bring up, it's outside of the ring stuff. Our in our minds, our local legend, Mr. Brandon Thurston, reported on a story that confirms that a Tony Khan owned company was
Oh,
in the mix bidding on the WWE. The lowest bidder of the four major bidders, but whatever the company was called, Kingpin or whatever,
yeah.
I don't even know what it was, but now. But Mr. Thurston had quite the analysis on that.
And it's free too. You could go read the article. It is free.
Yep. Yep.
What did he call it? What was it? It was Base 10 he called it.
Base 10 was the company. Yes, that's right. Base 10, which is a Tony Khan held company. And I mean, 6.9 billion was his offer, but beat out by all the other ones that were over 8 billion.
And if
So,
there was ever evidence of a world that I'll never be able to step foot in, when the smallest offer is 6.9 billion, Dan. And he just did
I mean,
that to be petty. like
right.
like that's hysterical. But yes, shout out to him. Postwrestling.com has the full article from him posted on there. So if you want to go read it, it's free. It's about 4 or 5 scrolls long, so it's a pretty in-depth article. He shows the actual evidence within the agreements and what's been disclosed. Um, and the very first public version of the complaints that have been filed in the 2023 November that were containing redactions are also on there as well. Um, it's a very interesting story, like Dan said. It basically paints a complete picture of what was going on at this time and what we thought may have been going on, but we're not too sure. So yeah, it's worth the read for sure. And shout out to Brendan, our hometown guy, hometown legend. Um, yeah, it's crazy, man. There's like there's petty, and then there's a new level of petty to say, "Here's 6.9 billion because this is all I think you're worth." Like,
Yeah.
that's wild.
Yeah, I mean, here he is, the guy actually in wrestling compared to the rest who, I know Endeavor, well, it wasn't Endeavor at the time, right?
Yeah.
But like had or no, Endeavor,
Yeah, it was TKO, right?
had some, well, it wasn't TKO at the time, it was Endeavor, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it was formed out of the deal. But the idea that like they were like, yeah, like like he's the one with the most in theory wrestling experience of the four bidders, and he's there like, yeah, you aren't worth 8 billion.
Yeah.
Unless he was like, and he didn't get this far according to the article, unless um part of his idea was, look, I just want to get in the door and look closer at their stuff, right? So I'm gonna bid, right? Because right, like I'm not like super up on mergers and acquisitions, but I know that like, once you get through a round of bidding and you meet a certain qualification, then that's when you start to get to see a little bit more about what's going on behind the
Mm-hmm.
scenes and what the books look like and all that. So
Yeah.
very interesting stuff, though.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. It is. Yeah.
So
And I guess WWE and Endeavor considered a 57-43 all stock deal, with the majority going to Endeavor. After to continuing to negotiate, Endeavor agreed to a narrow majority of 51-49 with stipulations that included a lifetime role for McMahon, of course, his control of certain sets as a merged entities board of directors of McMahon. However, later resigned from all roles at WWE due to the Janelle Grant filed sex trafficking lawsuit against him and WWE. Um, yeah, it's crazy.
yeah, it's good stuff. Interesting to read, that's for sure.
Yeah, and way to be petty, Tony. I love it. So keep
Yeah,
being
I
you.
like that too.
Keep being you. But yeah, until then, we'll be back next week. I think. Are you traveling to Dedicate next week, Dan? I think Hunter was bringing you in town.
Yeah, no, not yet.
All right.
Now next week I'm here until the first.
All right. So then we'll be back next week to continue on with the Mania bracket, discuss how the card's setting up, and anything else that may be occurring from now until then. Go watch AW, watch WWE, TNA, and AAA. AAA was awesome this past weekend as well. We didn't get a chance to talk about it, but AAA has been great. So that's on YouTube. Anyone watching NXT, Peacock deal is now up. So NXT is streaming everything on YouTube now on the WWE channel. I think it's specifically the NXT channel, but I could be wrong. Trying to think. And if you're buying anything from the WWE shop, use our code and you give a little bit of a discount when you go through the shop process. That'll be posted on our Twitter along with this episode as well. But until then, thanks for tuning in and we'll catch y'all next week then. Adios, folks.